Hello, did you catch a shower today? Many places avoided them and had some decent bright sunny spells instead, but things are going to change a little bit as we go through the rest of today and overnight. We do have high pressure to the southwest of us, but also a frontal system that's coming in from the west. That's going to bring cloud and rain across western parts initially, then that whole system sinks southeastwards as we go through tomorrow, breaking up as it goes, but bringing some showers for a time. By Wednesday, that ridge, that high pressure towards the southwest, trying to become a bit more dominant, so that quietens our weather down a little bit, but further wet weather waiting out to push into the northwest later on. Back to the here and now though, and any of today's showers, they're going to fizzle out and die away. So it's turning largely dry for most of us through the start of the night, but then that system I mentioned comes in across Northern Ireland initially, bringing cloud, bringing rain here, and then we will see some of that cloud and rain feeding into western parts of England, Wales and Scotland as we go through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Towards the east, where we stick with the dry, clearer weather, temperatures will just about dip into single figures in some places. Further west, they're more likely to hold up in those low to mid-teens, and it's going to feel relatively humid, and that high humidity goes along with the cloud and the rain that we'll have in some western places. So a bright start across eastern parts first thing tomorrow, a very different story towards the west, grey and a bit wet. Some of the wet rain could be quite heavy at times, but as I mentioned, that system is fragmenting, it's breaking up as it pushes its way southeastward. So although the rain could be quite persistent for a time through tonight, through early tomorrow morning, it's going to turn more showery, particularly by the time that we get to the afternoon. And whilst the cloud will spread across much of England, I'm not too sure as to exactly how much rain there's going to be across eastern parts. There could be some showery bursts, but at the moment it looks like most of the showers, the heaviest ones at least, will be across more central western parts of England and perhaps some parts of Wales. Could be some rumbles of thunder here. Across Northern Ireland, after an initially damp start, it's going to turn drier through the day, but might stay quite cloudy. Meanwhile, across much of Scotland, it's also often quite dry after a bit of a damp start, but actually towards the northeast of Scotland, staying dry here, and a good chance of having lots of fine sunny weather as well, particularly across parts of Orkney and Shetland. Temperatures are going to be a couple of degrees down compared to Monday for quite a few places, especially where you're stuck under the cloud. If you do catch any bright or sunny spells kind of around the fringes of the country, that's where it's probably going to feel that little bit warmest. Then as we go through the evening, any showery bursts of rain, they're going to continue for a little while yet, but most of them are going to die out and clear away as we go overnight. Not all though, there will still be some showery bursts as we go through the early hours of Wednesday morning. But then, like I said, we do have that ridge trying to build in, so the weather is going to settle down a little bit. Again, a relatively warm night for most places, generally holding up in double figures. Some places, if you get those clearer skies, could just about scrape into single digits. And then as we go through Wednesday, yes, there are some showery bursts around, but most of us are going to avoid these. So for many, it is going to be a largely dry day, albeit just the chance of these showers. Perhaps more likely across eastern parts by the time that we get to the afternoon, a dry, brighter picture towards the west, but there is something a bit cloudy, a bit wetter waiting in the Atlantic to push into far northwestern parts later on. With a bit more sunshine across western parts in particular, but even elsewhere, temperatures are going to be that little bit higher than on Tuesday. We're looking at highs around 24, 25 Celsius, that kind of thing. So feeling pretty warm for many of us. Then as we go through later on in the week, and I mentioned that there is some wetter weather waiting to come in from the west, and that's going to try to spill its way in as we go through Thursday. Some question marks still as to exactly how much rain we see in association with that, and a few more showery bursts as we go into Friday as well, but still the influence of something high pressure related towards the southwest of us, so that should try and quieten our weather down at least for a short period of time as we go through into Saturday. But for more information about what we can expect through the rest of the week, well, check out our week ahead forecast. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.